Hey, welcome to the practice lesson of the 3D layers section. Now, I have this really nice vector file from Freepik, which is awesome. As you can see, these characters are really amazing, and we're going to use these characters to create our practice. We're going to create a simple animation where the camera will be pointing at all of them. They will be put on different parts of the composition. They will be, some will be far away, some will be closer to our camera, and the camera will be making a close-up of each of them and then go back to the original position. So these are really cool to work with. Now let's close this. Let's grab all of this with the character composition. Let's grab all of this. Of course, this file will be shared with you. Now select this, Control and C, and now Control and B here. Now press this S key on your keyboard to open the scale properties, and let's scale this a lot. Make sure that the comb layer is selected so that it looks sharp. Now let's place them all. This part, I think we have to scale them down a bit. I think 450 is the right size. Okay, now select all of them, place them here. Don't worry about they being all mixed up because we're going to reposition them right now. Now let's make sure that they are all aligned to the bottom. Let's grab all of them and go to the Align panel. If you don't have this window, we just go to Window and select Align. And now click on this one, the one that says Vertical Bottom Alignment. And now they are all in the same position here. Alright. Now we can turn all of this off and leave just one of them, this guy. And let's create a shape layer. This shape layer will be 3D. Let me change our custom view to active camera. Alright, now we have the shape layer, and let's create a really large rectangle. Make it really large because it's going to be the floor for all of the characters, so it has to be really long. Alright, now go to custom view, and make sure that our character is on 3D. Right now our character is here, so we have to make this rectangle looks like a floor. And we're going to take the transform, and I think we have to move the x-axis. That's right, set it to 90 degrees, minus 90 degrees, and let's change the position of the z-axis until it looks really like a floor. Make sure it doesn't shove the guy's feet. Okay, over here, perfect. We can change the size of it like this. We have a really nice floor and really long. Let's go to active camera again. Alright, here. Yeah, this is perfect. Now let's rename this as floor. We don't need to rename all these characters. We know that these vector files are the character. Now let's go to layer, new, solid, and let's make this background can be a really light blue like this. Click OK. and make sure that it's on the bottom of the layer section. We can change the floor to any color. Right now it's a real pale gray. Maybe we want this to be, let's try some colors. Yeah, I think this is nice. Darker gray. Click OK. And now this one, let's rename this also as background. I'm a big fan of renaming all the layers because that this will be more organized and we won't get lost if we have like 20 layers or something. If they are all called layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, we're going to be completely lost when we work. So it's a good thing to rename all the layers that you can. Alright, let's create a camera now. Go to layer, new, and select camera. Leave it like this. Click OK and set our camera. You can place it above camera 1. That is a good name. And now let's turn on all these characters so that we can place them wherever we want. So let's go to the tube views, horizontal. So we have here the active camera, and here we have the custom view. Of course, we are only looking at one character because only one character is 3D. If these layers are not 3D, they won't appear here on our custom view. So take all of this and make them 3D. So now we have all of our guys. Now let's reposition these guys. So maybe this one will be closer to the edge. Grab it by the Z axis. This one will be closer. This will be our main guy. Then we will have this guy, the layer 5. Then we will have this one. Then this blonde guy with the glasses. And finally, the guy with the hat. We can make them farther away. Just make sure that they are in different positions on the Z axis. Alright, now we have to move them also on the other axis, on the X axis, not the Y axis, but the X axis, which is this one, the red one. We have to move them so that we can see all of them on our active camera. This guy will be on the right. This one will be on the left. This one will be here, a little to the right, but not too much. And finally, this one will be right here. Alright. If you want, you can place them farther, even farther away. So all I'm doing is to place them in a way that they look really cool. They look kind of like some sort of band. This guy should be farther too. so that we can see all of him. Whoop. Alright, now let's take a look at our active camera. They look really cool. We have this guy on front, then this guy with the shirt, then the guy with the glasses, and finally the guy with the hat. So right now they look like they are on different size, but they are not from different sizes, but on different parts of the floor. Right here is the farther one, and here is the closest one. Now it's time to play with our camera because everything else is ready. We have the floor, the background, and the 5 guys on the right position. So now it's time to have some fun with the camera. Now create a null object, or just go to right click here, camera, and create orbit null, and that way we have the null object with the 3D option already. So remember that if we move this null object, we are going to be moving the camera as well. Now, before doing anything else, let's go to our camera. And let's open the camera options and make sure that depth of field is on. And the focus distance should be closer, pointing to this guy, to our first guy. Now, let's change the aperture. We can increase it to 300 pixels. Now you can see that only this guy is focused. Of course, the camera will focus on each of these guys. So make sure that the focus square is here, pointing at this guy, the front guy, right now, and the aperture is on 300 pixels. Alright. Now let's play with our camera orbit null. And all we are going to do is to play with the position of the orbit null. So we don't need the 2 views, we only need one view, which is this one, because all will happen right here. So let's create a keyframe for this position right as it is. And now remember that the camera is attached to the orbit null, so everything that we do to the orbit null will be applied to the camera. If we move the orbit null to anywhere, any point of this composition, the camera will move as well. So we created a keyframe here. Let's go to the first, second, and let's play with this position. Let's first move on the X axis so that it moves to here, and now move on the Z axis so that it gets closer to this guy. So as we move closer, you can see that this guy is already focused, and this one is really blurry because now the focus is right here. If we go again to our custom view and select our camera, you can see that the camera changed the position like this. And we didn't even move the camera, we just moved the orbit null, and you can see how much easier it is to just move the orbit null instead of going to the camera and selecting the zoom option, playing with the aperture and anything. Just move the orbit null and the job will be done. Alright, now let's move again to our active camera. Here is this guy, and the transition is really nice. Really cool. You can see how the 3D acts, everything looks like it really is on 3D. You can see the depth and the depth of field, how this guy changes from completely out of focus and this one is really focused, and they this one gets out of focus and this one gets focused, because of course the depth of field works like that. Alright, now let's leave here 1 second, create a keyframe here with the exact settings so that it stays like this for 1 second, nothing happens here, and then on the 3rd second let's move to the next guy, and we shall move on the x-axis again, and of course on the z-axis too. So we have this animation. So the camera is going from this front guy to this redhead guy, and then it stays like this for 1 second and goes to the other guy, the mustache guy. Now it should remain 1 second here. Click on the keyframe, and on the 5th second let's change, move again on the x-axis, and move into the z-axis so that we focus here on this guy. Alright, now again move 1 second, click on a keyframe and move to the 7th second, and again click on the x-axis of our orbit null, move here, and on this one we should move to the y-axis so that it gets more focus on this guy and we can see all his face. And now move in to zoom in on this guy. Perfect. So we'll move like this. Now let's remain here for 1 second, and finally on the 9th second we're going to take our first keyframe, this one here, our first position keyframe on the orbit null, and we're going to paste it here on the 9th second. So it will move from this one, it will move back again to the beginning. So let's take a look at how it looks. Let's first take a look at how the camera acts on the custom view. So the camera is pointing here, then goes to the second guy, waits a little, goes to the 3rd guy, waits some more, to the 4th, and finally goes to the final guy and goes back again to 0. So let's take a look at how it looks on our active camera. Let's hit play. Really cool, right? Now, right now the camera is looking really choppy. This goes here and then here with no pause at all. So if we want to smooth things a little bit, just grab all of your keyframes, all the keyframes here, and right click on them, go to keyframe assistant and select easy ease. Now let's see how it changes. Alright, now it's much smoother. Remember that the easy ease, what it does is to smoothen the position changes by adding some more frames to it. So right now it moves and stops so much smoother. So that's it. We just created a really nice 3D animation here. We played with the spaces here on our composition and played with the camera and the orbit null. So congratulations, you can say that you created your first 3D animation here on After Effects. Let's go to the next lesson.